why wouldn't we look at the organic intelligence that's around us to help inform how we're going to solve for some of our world's gravest problems, which is a lot of things around climate change and other sustainability challenges that we have ahead of us.
Rika, welcome to the IFA 2023 live podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. Slightly jet lagged, but overall really good.
How long was the flight?
All in, probably 22 hours. 22 is my lucky number. I'm February 22nd born, so.
22 hours. So hopefully that luck will transfer into an engaging, lovely podcast.
No, thank you. I think it will.
So for everyone at home who may not know about you or your experience, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm born and raised in Japan to Japanese father, German mother. So I should have gone into automotive or beer, but that's not the direction I went in. I went into technology. I went to the States for university and right from the very beginning fell into the world of tech, emerging tech and disruption. It was early days of internet, so I'm dating myself now. But so basically have been in emerging technologies my whole career, have been both on the production side, working at Sony Online, been in deep tech. I worked for NVIDIA for a few years back before anybody knew how to pronounce NVIDIA, let alone spell it.
I remember the days when you'd look at graphics cards and Nvidia.
And I've been on the consulting side, worked for Accenture. Today I work for NTT, which is a technology services company, very large. NTT is originally Japanese, Nippon Telegraph Telecommunications. Now NTT is about 330,000 people around the world.
So pretty small.
Yeah, tiny, yeah. But I live in America now, but I've worked with global teams. My background has predominantly been in strategy, consulting, alliances, business development, and partnerships. And really forging where disruption technology intersects with new kinds of business models and innovation for how the world spins on its axis.
So you mentioned, in your introduction, just how close you've been to emerging tech. So, you mentioned the internet there, kind of the rise of GPUs of NVIDIA and everything worked there. And that kind of leads very nicely on to one of the hot topics at the minute, which is artificial intelligence, which appears to be everywhere. And, if 2022's buzzword was metaverse, it seems 2023's is AI. Where do you stand on the whole AI?
Where do I
system?
Stand? Well, like the stick figure,
I
don't really stand. You can't keep me standing. I'm rarely stationary. I think artificial intelligence is dangerous, but not for the reasons you think.
So not like a Skynet taking over the world, which is the
most...
most...
No, so a few months ago, I was having dinner and over a bottle of wine, it might have been two, I was having a conversation with some people in the industry, and we were talking about AI and ChatGPT and LLMs and a whole host of other acronyms. And I said, what's really funny is that there isn't anything artificial about artificial intelligence. Never mind that AI has been around for a very long time, decades, back even before Alan Turing and machines and things like that. So, but what I was arguing is that everything that makes up AI today, chips, GPUs, circuit boards, even software programming, hardware, software, anything, it's all made from organic matter. So there's nothing artificial about what makes up the ecosystem of artificial intelligence. But that in and of itself is not an interesting argument. The other side to this is that the reason why AI is dangerous, but not for the reasons you think, is because I think our obsession currently with AI and the way that we're looking at how digital mechanisms that are feeding into AI is going to, quote unquote, dominate how we work, live, and play, is distracting us from the intelligence that's in the world around us. And so as I was in this conversation over dinner, the next day I jumped online after I recovered from the couple of bottles of wine.
After an Alka-Seltzer and orange juice.
But there was something very stimulating about red wine and arguments and discussions. So I looked up on the USPTO, which is a trademark and patent office, and I noted that organic intelligence had not been trademarked.
So did you go and immediately trademark
I
organic
did
intelligence?
trademark organic organic intelligence.
Have you got the .com as well?
I don't have the .com. I don't know who has it, but I have a couple of URLs. But the point is that there's a lot of intelligence in organic world around us. We're sitting amongst these beautiful flowers. There was a recent study, a lot of research, and this is part of the problem. A lot of the interesting work that's going into what's called bio-inspired design is happening in the world of academia. But just to cite an example, there was an article just even 2 months ago that was talking about how photosynthesis and examining it, because we don't fully understand. I mean, we fully don't understand light rays. Particle, is it a wave? What is it?
How does it operate in different quantum situations?
And string theory. I'm going to detract for one. Like string theory, there was something I came across saying, you know what? String theory is a really good example of binary code existing in the universe. But I'll come back to this photosynthesis. So looking at photosynthesis, they said, wait, there's something that we can learn here about frictionless energy exchange. So why wouldn't we look at the organic intelligence that's around us to help inform how we're going to solve for some of our world's gravest problems, which is a lot of things around climate change and other sustainability challenges that we have ahead of us. So I think that the reason why artificial intelligence, hence the summation of this, is that artificial intelligence is dangerous because it's making us myopic around the technology and digital versus thinking about how artificial intelligence, and again, artificial is a misnomer anyway, but going with the acronym AI because everyone's adopted it, is AI is just a subset of an overall organic intelligence that we need to figure out how we harness that better and bring that into the fold of out of academia and research and into applied innovation and commercialization. And the reason why, from a timing perspective, it's really important and why I wanted to bring this up is because this summer there was a news article, because when the media prints something, of course it's now true. There was a lake in Toronto that was recently excavated, so to speak, and they found evidence of what we're calling a chemist and a biologist, I believe in 2000, coined the term Anthropocene. Have you heard of the term Anthropocene before?
I have heard of it, but always good to get a refresher.
So anthropology, anthropo is human. And so when archaeologists and the anthropologists look at the geologic age of the Earth, they've mapped it based on the geological transitions and change that you can see in physical Earth. And up until recently, we've been living in what the archaeologists and anthropologists have called Holocene, which is this symbiotic existence that has been around on Earth for thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of years at this point. And with the Industrial Revolution, which is where a lot of people pin when the Anthropocene started, with the Industrial Revolution, the rise of the use of fossil fuels, the rise of mass production, and this transformation of processes, and then, of course, population growth, and the rate at which the exponential population growth has happened, and all this consumption and all this extraction from the Earth has created now where humans are materially and potentially irreversibly affecting the face of the planet, literally the face of the planet. So that's called Anthropocene. So it's a geologic, yet ironically not really geologic era that we're in, because I think now we have agency in thinking about organic intelligence and thinking about what we've done with AI and all the technological advances. And this lake that was found in Toronto, lake elements in Toronto, they found evidence of various molecular structures of things and decomposition of other things that was definitively like, aha, humans have made this change to the natural environment. I don't know why it took to 2023 for people, the mass media, to pick up on this, because a lot of people, like I said, have pinned the dawn of the Anthropocene from the time of the Industrial Revolution, maybe even before. And so I think now that we have agency, now we know that we are affecting what is going on this earth. And now we have all these tools and capabilities to potentially even accelerate. So using AI to advance OI, call it organic intelligence OI, to be able to be regenerative, because that's what the earth has been doing far longer than any of us have been thinking about circular economy or upcycling or any of these other trendy words that are going on. And so that's something that I've been thinking quite a bit about recently, and really trying to identify those areas where we can not just discover those breakthrough research elements that are finding these moments of where organic intelligence is telling us how we can be resilient and perhaps even anti-fragile. I don't know if do you know the term anti-fragile?
Yeah.
You come across that? Yeah. So how do we do this so that we can be better, and how we can leave the world a better place, as you've heard before? Because by the way, the planet's fine. This isn't about saving the planet. The planet's going to keep on existing and it's going through its evolution. It's about us and how we are going to exist with a biodiverse ecosystem of organic matter and living creatures.
Yeah. So effectively focusing rather on this kind of hype, man-made new thing, having time to reflect and look at the worlds and systems around us that already exist that we don't fully understand yet. So I know there's a lot of research being done on things like how fungi move and solve certain mazes. And there's an interesting point I was thinking when you're going through, we're trying to solve climate change and create carbon capture devices, but the best carbon capture device for cooling cities exists. It's a tree. Mm-hmm. You can plant it, reduces the softness and everything around. So, if we're kind of then forward thinking, taking this idea of organic intelligence on, what are some of the next steps? Like, how do we, as a society, whether it's scientific, governmental, how do we take those next steps in order to take advantage of this organic intelligence and then make it, work for us?
I think it's looking at the applications of AI today, whether it's in health, medicine, financial services. There's a lot of different ways that AI is being applied, and working collaboratively and cross-functionally with academia, public policy, industry, and really identifying some of the ways that the bio-inspired design engineering coalesces with this digital innovation that's happening. There was a conference that was held last year at the Wyss Institute, which is at Harvard, with about 40 people that were part of this program. Pretty diverse group of people, but what was not diverse about it is predominantly academia. Mm-hmm. The business industry and policymakers weren't really part of the mix. So I think it's incumbent on us to bring cross-functional stakeholders to the table and really and discover where those convergence points can happen. Because, like I said, the Anthropocene is not a good geologic / era, existential era for us to be in. So now the good news is that we know we can make a difference. So how do we get us out of the Anthropocene as quickly as possible? But not just get out. It's also saying, okay, what directionally, where are we going? Because getting these various stakeholders around the table isn't going to be useful unless you can align on, well, what's the North Star or the South Star, East Star, whatever star.
Whichever
I want to be favorable.
Go.
Well, even that is like man-made, right? North, South, East, West. Yeah. But in other words, like you have to have a center of gravity, drop an anchor, say, okay, where are we going? And so I've thought about that too. Like, okay, so what's after the Anthropocene? What happens when we can... And I would say you said to stop and reflect. I don't think it's stopping, and I don't necessarily think it's reflecting, although that is the right energy. I think it's still going forward, but it has to be collaboratively, and for us to think, okay, maybe the next era that we're going into is to have agency, to take action. And as the startup community has taught us, it's like, okay, if we're going to fail along the way, that's fine. Fail fast, and let's figure out what's the iteration that's going to get us there. I think it's something called the Cosmocene, because the cosmos is a great order of things, which if you're an engineer or a scientist or anybody that thinks about how things work, you realize that there's patterns in chaos, that there are ways that things come together in some sort of order.
Yeah, like a fractal point, this universal numbers and systems that work for everything.
And even that is organic intelligence, like fractals and the perfect ratio. And as you said, slime that can figure its way through a maze the fastest. And if you let it go long enough and step back, it looks like a beautifully designed subway system, right? And that's a single organism that was able to do that. So, and I think that that's the point. I'm just scratching the surface to find all these moments. I think that if we can work together to create that access to those insights, what could we achieve?
Yeah, limitless.
Yeah, well, limitless.
Rika, thank you very much for the time. That was absolutely engaging and very thoughtful, and I enjoyed speaking to you.
Yeah, likewise, Callum. Thanks for the opportunity, and let's get to the next
let's get to the Cosmocene.
Let's get to the Cosmocene. Thank you.